Hey everyone, Dr. Zio here again, and today I got all spruced up, got my Ranger helmet shirt, not wearing a hat today, got my hair nice and picked out and everything, because today we're here to talk about Power Rangers Dino Fury episode 21, the season finale, Void Trap. And ooh, the episode was good. The episode was good. Great. I'm not too sure about yet. I keep going back and forth on it being good or great, but we will get to that here in just a second. As always, thank you for watching, and let's get right into it. So, we'll do summary, likes, dislikes, conclusion, and then our questions of the week. So the episode starts off with the Rangers doing like a little recap of what happened in the previous episode. We even get a nice little previously on Power Rangers at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, which I don't remember seeing that in the past. That was interesting. Nice little change of pace there. But essentially what's happening here is that the Rangers are trying to figure out, okay, why does Void Knight need Dr. Akana's equipment? What can we do to get this back? And Zato says, okay, well, Ion suggests that they give like the capacitor to Void Knight, but then they rig it so that they can make it explode and follow his plans, right? So Zato's like, okay, let's take this a step further. Let's go ahead and get Ollie's mom in on it, which Ollie is not too happy about. He's initially resilient about that, but he eventually comes around. Dr. Akana goes with them into the base. They talk her up and everything. She joins the squad for this little extracurricular activity. They end up giving, Dr. Akana ends up giving Void Knight the repaired capacitor. However, things turn ugly when Void Knight had Regal revive Boom Tower again. So all of them go meet up with Dr. Akana. Regal, after they get the capacitor, Void Knight says, "Alright, take care of the good doctor." He teleports out. Regal slaps some sleepy cuffs on Dr. Akana, and then he teleports himself, Mucus, and Slider into the dark dimension. Meanwhile, my man Boom Tower just left there to do his thing and make things go boom. It's nice. So, Zato follows Dr. Akana, Regal, Mucus, and Slider to the dark dimension, ends up saving Dr. Akana. Meanwhile, the remaining Rangers have a fight with Boom Tower. In the middle of the fight, they use this really nice combo attack, which ends up blowing up Boom Tower for the third time. In the process, though, it kind of takes the wind off their sails, right? And that's when Void Knight uses this as an opportunity to pop back up with more sleepy cuffs. He throws on all the Rangers except for Ollie. He's like, okay, you know what, fine. 4 Rangers is good enough for me. And then he teleports all 4 of them back to his base. Ollie's scared, right? So now, Void Knight teleports the 4 Rangers as well as Santora in her little, I want to say it's maybe a stasis pod, into the middle of Dino Henge, right? So he starts activating Dr. Khan's equipment, and basically what it does is it opens up the Morphin Grid again. Morphin Grid energy goes into the statues, it gets siphoned through the Rangers and into Santora's what's it called? Her stasis pod, so that he can revive her or wake her or whatever he really wants to do here. And then Ollie's trying to figure out what to do when Zato and Dr. Khan pop up back from the dark dimension. So Zato goes to act as a diversion. Void Knight captures him, throws him on the meat pile as well, so now energy's going through him as well. Ollie ends up destroying, Dr. Akana then distracts Void Knight and gets tossed across Dino Henge. Ooh, that was a beautiful scene. I absolutely love that. She gets tossed across Dino Henge by Void Knight. Ollie ends up destroying the Dino Henge statue heads, which demorphs all the Rangers. Dr. Akana finds out that, hey, here are the Rangers and here's my son. Void Knight's pissed because now his plans are ruined. The Morphin Grid disappears. So now because the Rangers have been cut off from the Morphin Grid, they can't siphon the energy into the tube. So he's pissed, right? He's not happy that his plans have been foiled again. So he goes up against the Rangers, right? So it's the Rangers unmorphed, against Void Knight and a bunch of henchmen. They have a really good unmorph fight. Izzy ends up, slashing some of the tubes there on Santora's stasis pod. Void Knight goes to try to fix it. It blows up. Well, Ion fires at the capacitor. Everything blows up. Rangers have a nice little celebratory moment. Green Morphmaster pops up and she's like, "Yeah, y'all aren't done yet. Your job's not done." She restores she ends up restoring the Dino statues and restoring the Rangers' connection to the grid. So they end up, morphing again. And then the episode ends on us in in Void Knight's now empty base with just Santora in her stasis pod. And there's a crack on the stasis pod because of the explosion. I wonder if that's going to mean something in season 2. And then it pans over to Void Knight's helmet. It's just sitting there, and it's all messed up and everything. So, as brief a summary as I can get. A lot happened in this episode. It's very much a plot-focused episode. But yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about our likes. First things first is always the comedy. Comedy was good. Comedy was great. When Dr. Akana, when they bring her into the base, there's a part where she's looking at Solon, and she's surprised, right? So Solon goes into her whole spiel of I'm a Solanosaurus, right? And Solon says that Dr. Khan's commenting on all the technology in there, and Solon agrees with her, and she's like, "I just ordered a thing called a microwave. It can make popcorn in just 3 minutes," and she's all excited about that. I'm like, never change, Solon. Y'all are great. All of y'all are great. Just Dr. Khan's reaction to being in the base and being among the Rangers and all that tech, and even commenting that Ollie would love that place. It was nice. I'm so happy they're finally bringing Dr. Akana into everything, because she's been a very valuable asset to the Rangers throughout this season. And now it's she's going to be more in the show, and I cannot wait to see what she does come season 2. When Zato ends up saving Dr. Akana from the Dark Dimension, Slither and Mucus are floating in there, and they're like, "Hey, what about us?" And Zato's like, "Yeah, you guys are here too." And he just teleports back into the Zord, and they leave. And Mucus is like, "Rude." And I'm like, "Oh, I hope obviously we're gonna see them again in season 2." But that moment just made me laugh, which it was kind of a dick move by Zato's part. I don't know, I would have saved them, but then again, I like Mucus and Slither. I like the villains in this season a lot, actually. But yeah, I would have saved them. Speaking of which, though, this also is the debut of a new Zord combination. So to get to the Dark Dimension, Zato ended up combining the T-Rex Champion Zord with the Light and Shadow Raptor Zords to form the T-Rex Cosmic Megazord. And because we already knew that the Cosmic Key can teleport to anywhere in the universe, I guess that extends to teleport into other dimensions too? Okay, I wonder if they'll use that to teleport to any other Ranger dimensions, but who knows? Anyway, he uses that to teleport to the Dark Dimension to end up saving Dr. Akana. And so when Void Knight ends up getting capturing Zato, he puts sleepy cuffs on him, right? And then he puts him on the little thing that he has all the other Rangers connected up to, and he's like, "Sleepy time, Red Ranger. Don't drool on anything." I'm like, Void Knight's had a lot of humorous moments in this season. It's funny. It gives me a little bit of sense of Lothor from Ninja Storm. But yeah, that scene was pretty funny. As I mentioned earlier, I just absolutely love the fact that Dr. Akana is such a big help in this episode, just a big part of this episode, this season and this episode more in particularly in general. The fact that the Rangers actually brought her into the base to get in on everything was just great. And the fact that she plays a big role into their plans, even if she does end up getting captured, was also great too. And her reaction to Ollie in Ranger form being apprehensive about her using herself as bait to go against to give Ollie a window of opportunity to destroy the Dino Head statues was good. No, it's one of those moments that I really appreciate in Power Rangers, where we show that you don't necessarily need powers or you don't need access to the morphin grid to still be a hero and still to do the right thing. It's an important lesson. I love it whenever we get a really good moment that brings that up. No, it's not even the first time this season has done it. I've mentioned it in my previous reviews. Was it episode 2? I want to say when Dr. Akana used her drone and she blew it up on top of Void Knight and Mucus and I think it was the Horsey monster in episode 2. Again, that proves that you don't even need powers. Dr. Akana is super useful just the way she is. She's incredibly smart. And what is it? Even to a lesser extent, Warden Garcia going up against Dragnarok in the episode where where Javi and Izzy debut. It was a stupid move, granted, but it showed courage and it showed that sometimes you shouldn't stand up for yourself or stand up to someone bigger than you, but still it showed courage and I appreciated that. And even Mick showed it in his episode where he came back when after he gave the wolf monster those know-how lozenges or know-how drops, he looked like he was about ready to fight. He had his hands up. We've seen Mick fight before. We know that he's a relatively capable fighter, so him not having his Red Ranger powers anymore, but still being up to the task and up to the challenge of being able to fight was nice. Like, I would have really appreciated seeing a Mick fight scene. That would have been cool. But I mean, obviously he teleported away when the Rangers were like, okay, we got this one from here. But yeah, I can't wait to see what else Dr. Akana does in season 2. Her interest in the morphing grid and her interest in technology does make me think that she's going to be the one to help stabilize the final Ultrazord that ended up blowing up back in 65 million years ago against the Great Sporks battle. I'm thinking she's going to play a big role in stabilizing that formation so they can use it against whatever Sporks beasts are coming up or whomever they need to use it against in the future. But we'll see what happens. We will see. And this one's kind of like an offhanded jab at Zato, but I like how Zato keeps fucking up, like over and over and over again. Like it shows that he really isn't that good of a leader. It shows that leaders make mistakes, even though Zeta's been pretty consistent about that. But it's that consistency and that willingness to try and to do what he can to fix his mistakes is what I like about his arc or his moments here in this season, especially in this episode. We know that he fucked up by playing a big role in releasing the Sporks. We know that he fucked up and suggesting that they use the unstable Ultrazord combination. And in this episode, he ends up contributing to Dr. Akana getting captured. What I like is that he immediately goes to solve the Spork situation in the first 65 million years ago. And even when he more or less plays a big role in the Sporks getting released here in modern times, he's all about fixing that mistake and recapturing the Sporks. In this episode, it's the same thing. As soon as Dr. Akana gets captured and Ollie's pissed at him, very rightfully so, Zeta's like, yo, hold on, I can fix this. I'll go ahead and morph and I'll go to the Dark Dimension, grab my Zords, go there and get your mom back. I swear I've got this. And him saying that he swears that he'll fix this, I don't know why, but it really did well to drive home the point of that he felt responsibility in that moment. He was very honest about wanting to fix it. So props to the writers for just using that one word. That was good. That was really, really good. Another thing is the sleepy cuffs. Like, this is the second time we've seen those things pop up, and I like it. Like, I don't know. I guess it's probably because Regal popped up again, or we needed Regal again. But I really like the fact that something that was included in the Halloween episode, even though it wasn't necessarily a traditional Halloween episode or Halloween special, it was more of an episode with a Halloween theme to it. But I like that something that appeared in that episode, one that we would normally write off for these last few years since the Neo Saban era started way back when during Samurai. I like that an item in that episode in particular was important to this episode, was important to the villain's plans. Like, those sleepy cuffs came in handy. Like, Void Knight utilized the hell out of those things, and it makes me excited to watch to go and watch the Christmas episode. But yeah, because I want to see if something in that Christmas episode ends up tying into season 2 later on down the line. I'm hearing that's more of a Christmas special than a Christmas themed episode, so it may not, but we'll see what happens. Going back to Dr. Akana, her learning the Rangers' identities. I like it. I like it so much because we don't have to, tiptoe around her anymore. If there's Ranger business afoot, they can just tell her like that. Hey mom, Ranger stuff. Ranger Hotline's calling. I need to go, and she'll be totally understanding about it. Or if they need help in the future, and Dr. Khan's like, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. They can call upon Dr. Akana for help because she's shown that she's smart and she's very much willing to do what needs to be done to help the Rangers and help her, help her town, and that's good. Again, I'm excited, and Dr. Akana's bravery in this episode though. There was a part where, so once the Rangers are all demorphed and they gather up, and they're about ready to face Void Knight again, and Void Knight's angry, right? Dr. Akana pushes past them. She stares down Void Knight, and she says to him, "If you dare hurt my son, I'll obliterate you and everything you've ever loved." And I'm like, damn, woman. You don't have any powers, but I 100% in this moment believe that you meant every single word here. She loves her son. She loves her son to bits, and I love that so much. That moment, the delivery and everything, Ollie having to pull her back and tell, Mom, go, we got this, it was perfect. It was perfect. I loved the hell out of that scene. Dr. Khan's quickly become my favorite side character in Power Rangers. She's great. I do wish that Void Knight had followed up with something like, you already took everything I love. You've already taken something I love from me. Just to give the Rangers a little bit of a hint that what's in that tube is something that's very important to him, or someone who's very important to him, I should say. Because throughout the episode, it didn't really seem like the Rangers really cared who was inside that tube. No one really brought that up. They were just like, okay, your experiment, we'll just fuck it up. Plain and simple. We don't need to know who was in the tube, which I guess in a way is also kind of refreshing, because from a good guy standpoint, or the hero standpoint, so to speak, you don't really care about who's in the tube, right? The villain, your villain is trying to revive whatever's in that tube, so it's probably gonna be bad news for y'all. So we don't need no speech from you. We know that we need to get that tube destroyed immediately, and they accomplished that very, very well. Keeping on Void Knight, I love what we've seen of Void Knight's relationship with Santora. This man loves her, and all the lines in this episode have made it so apparent that he cares about her so much. There's a scene where somewhere in the beginning of the episode where he's talking to Santora. He's like, okay, we're gonna use the more for good for this. You're gonna get back to me, and he calls her his darling, and that was so sweet. I was hurting for him, right? I wanted him to bring her back. And there's another scene, there's when I think someone slashes Santora's the pipes on Santora's prison or stasis pod or whatever. I think it was Izzy who did that. I know it's 2 times something happened. I think the second time definitely was Izzy slashing the pipes on her stasis pod, and Void Knight books it for the stasis pod, jumps up there and trying to fix everything, and he's like, it's okay, it's just a small leak. And I'm like, oh, he really cares about her. He doesn't want anything to happen about her. He even tells us, it's been years that she's been in this stasis pod, and it's like, I want to learn more about their backstory and what's going on with them, how she got in stasis pod, and I really want an episode dedicated to just these two, so we can get that kind of backstory that we've been searching for. But yeah, there's also another part where he tells Santora to come back to him, and I'm like, oh, just this whole episode, Void Knight was tugging at my heartstrings. I love the relationship that we're seeing blossom between Santora and Void Knight. Even though it's very one-sided, I really hope that at the end of the day it doesn't turn out to be a one-sided relationship, that he's not pining after the girl who has no feelings for him. I don't think that that's going to be how everything turns out, but I hope I'm right. I'm hoping it's not like that, but yeah, what we've seen so far, I'm loving it, and I hope that we get to see good resolution here. But keeping on the topic of Void Knight, onto my dislikes. This one it's not really too serious of a dislike. It's more of something that it kind of bothered me, and it's the fact that Void Knight lost. I know it's weird, right? Like we were watching Power Rangers, you would expect me to be happy that the Rangers won. I wasn't. The whole time, like Rangers, y'all, just chill, let it happen, bro. Just let him do his thing. I understand that it was too much morphin energy being siphoned through the Rangers, and that would have killed them. But sometimes you gotta take your L's, bro. Sometimes you gotta take your L's. Let Void Knight get this W. Let Santora come back to life. Let us see this couple, have their happy moment, because that's all I wanted. Like this whole time, like Void Knight has sold me on him loving this woman, and I want to see them get back together, which is just a really weird feeling for me because I've never really felt that way about any other villain in Power Rangers history. And it's making me happy. Like throughout this whole episode, I was actively rooting for Void Knight, and I was actively, not wanting the Rangers to win the battle. Like, it's shocking. Like, I've never had that kind of a feeling in Power Rangers. Like, no episode has ever made me feel that way. And I'm like, yeah, this is interesting. This is very interesting. And I cannot wait to see where things go for Season 2. But let's talk about a more serious dislike, and that's the appearance of the Green Morphmaster. Excuse me. So once Void Knight's been dealt with, the Green Morphmaster pops up. Excuse me. The Green Morphmaster pops up to, restore the Dino Hinge and tell them, yo, y'all aren't done yet. You guys still have things, or you all still have things to do, right? So she restores the connection to the Morphin Grid, and then she pieces out. Deuces, I got other things to do. And I didn't like it. I did not like it. As I mentioned in my review of Episode 6, Superstition Strikes, when Amelia got her Morpher destroyed and Solon immediately starts building her another Morpher, Solon specifically states that they only have one more of those crystals that they can use to make another Morpher. And I like that in that scene because if Solon just repair the Morpher all willy-nilly, it takes away any tension that you can get or any of the stakes you can get from the Rangers potentially losing their powers. By having that one crystal left, it tells us that, okay, if someone else loses their powers or someone else loses their Morpher, that's it. There's no way of fixing that, right? They're no longer a Ranger, right? Whereas this scene kind of undoes that goodwill because we know that the Morphin Masters can just give them their powers back, which has been implied, right, by the Morphin Masters' appearance in general and them giving the Rangers powers in general in the first episode, and that's 100% implied, but it kind of sucks more or less seeing it confirmed. But I mean, it's something we've more or less gotten used to, Rangers getting their powers back. It happened in True Blue to the Rescue. It happened in the Legendary Battle, in Dimensions in Danger, more or less in Grid Connection as well. I mean, it's been a staple of Power Rangers team-ups, but I was hoping that it wouldn't be a big thing here in the show, or like outside of team-up side it is. I wouldn't mind the Rangers getting their powers back for one last go-around in a team-up like the Dino Thunder Rangers did when they teamed up with the SP Rangers in the future. That was a one-time thing. After that, their powers are gone again. Or when the Ninja Storm Rangers teamed up with the Dino Thunder Rangers, again. Actually, no, they really did get their powers back. But it made sense in that moment. It made sense. But yeah, I didn't like it. I think it does take away any stakes we have of the Dino Fury Rangers potentially losing their powers. But then again, we don't really know much about the Morphin Masters and if they would meddle in the affairs of the Rangers if the Sporks are all beaten and Lord Zed's no longer a problem. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait to see what happens. I want to segue back into my likes real quick. One thing I did like was that the fights. I like the fights. Like when Amelia and the other Rangers were going up against Boom Tower. It was a good fight. All the Rangers, they use like their special attacks and combine it with Amelia's special attacks so they can beat Boom Tower. It was flashy, but it was good flashy. Like, it looked cool. It was easy to follow. I appreciate it. It even reminded me of like the ending to Kamen Rider Deno. Like, I got goosebumps watching that, right? But yeah, even the Unmorph fight at the end of to close off the season was really good. I hope that we get more Unmorph fights going into season 2 because it shows that they've got this kind of down pat. Like, that was exciting seeing everyone doing their thing without having their powers. And seeing Izzy, taking the charge and, going up to Santora's, Santora's stasis pod and destroying the tubing and everything, and to get Void Knight over there. And then Amelia also had her own little confrontation with Void Knight. She was the one fighting this guy, right? And I'm like, huh. I wonder why it's specifically her fighting Void Knight and not anyone else. Why not Zato? Why the Pink Ranger of all the Rangers? Is this leading credence, to our hunch that maybe Void Knight and Santora are her parents? Maybe something happened to them when they were, mysterious circumstanced at Area 62 or wherever it happened. Maybe they got turned into those two, into the villains of the season. Well, villain of the season and his love interest. We'll see what happens. But yeah, overall though, yeah, I would say it was a great episode. I would say it's a great episode. Like, my likes aren't anything too serious, not enough to bring down the episode at all. But yeah, it was a great episode. Unmorph fight was awesome. The Morph fights were awesome. I love Void Knight's connection with Santora. I do wish he had won the battle. He had won and brought her back, but whatever, it happens. I did like the stinger at the end though. That stinger at the end with Santora's pod being cracked, or the window on Santora's pod being cracked, and Void Knight's helmet there. It does make me wonder what's going to happen for season 2. Even as I mentioned before, having Ollie's mom play a big role into this episode and just bringing her into the loop of everything has me excited to see where things go for season 2. So yeah, I would say it's great. 2 thumbs up for me. And then for our questions of the week. So our first question of the week is, what happened to Void Knight? When the explosion happened, Void Knight's sword came flying and stuck itself, on the ground next to the Rangers. Zato grabbed his sword, cheered, and then just tossed it to the side. We know that Void Knight's sword is there, and we know that his helmet is in his base next to Santora's pod. Are we gonna see Void Knight and Dino Hinge grabbing his sword and then walking back to his base? What's the deal here? What's gonna happen? I want to see what's gonna happen with my guy Void Knight. Second thing though is, what's the deal with the Green Morphmaster? The series is giving a lot of importance to her. The other Morphmasters, we saw them in the premiere. We saw them in Zato's, when he was peering into the thoughts of the Ninja Nexus Prism. But we've seen the Green Morphmaster alone, waking up Ion, telling him that, the Rangers need you to help deal with Lord Zed. This is important. And we saw her specifically come to restore the Rangers' connection to the Morphin Grid and restore the Dino Hinge statues. Like, why her specifically? Like, Simon Bennett on Ranger Board has indicated, Simon Bennett, the executive producer of the show, has indicated on Ranger Board that she does hold some sort of importance, and this is going to get addressed in season 2. So I'm excited to see, what's going to happen there. Why her specifically. And then, our third question of the week is, what's going to happen with Mucus and Scyther? Obviously they're going to be back, but how are they going to get back? They're in the Dark Dimension right now. Maybe Lord Zed can bring them back somehow. Maybe he'll get his staff back, and then from there he'll use magic to open up the Dark Dimension and retrieve Mucus and Scyther. Or maybe they'll find their way back in some other way, shape, or form. I liked him this season. Again, Scyther, his disguises were always, they were successful time and time again. And both Scyther and Mucus, they were a funny combination. Mucus was hilarious, so I really want them to come back for season 2, and I'm excited to see how they get back. But yeah, this was a very long review. I'm excited to see how much I can trim off of it. But yeah, that's really all I have to say for this review. Again, it was great. I'm excited for season 2. This has been a really good season of Power Rangers. I'm probably, I don't know about the best since Power Rangers came back with Samurai. It's definitely tied up with Dino Charge season 1. Maybe a little bit better. I'll have to sleep on it, think more about it, but still though, it's really good. It's really, really good. And I am so excited for season 2 next year, whenever that happens, hopefully on Netflix, so we don't have to deal with international schedules and Nick schedules and all that kind of stuff. But wherever it happens, I'm going to be talking about it. I'm going to have my reviews. Next time, we'll go ahead and talk about the Power Rangers Dino Fury Christmas special. So I look forward to that. Until next time, though, as always, thank you for watching. Hope you all are having a good day, good evening, whenever you're watching this. Mask up when you're going out. Get your vaccine if you can. Stay safe, and I hope you have a good day and have a good night. See you later. Peace.